Welcome back to another episode of the Wet Dreams podcast. I'm your host, Jose Gonzalez. I'm a mental health counselor and a sex therapist.
I'm Dr. Brad Hinman. I'm a licensed professional counselor, licensed marriage and family therapist, and a sex therapist.
Awesome. Today we're talking about boundaries and control. We're going to react first to a video, and then we'll also get into it a little bit, but we were talking about the difference between boundaries versus controlling people. And it's funny, I think it can be used as almost used simultaneous or synonymously at times of well, it's my boundary, but in fact, it's like you're trying to tell somebody what to do, and we'll get into more detail. But I feel like the word boundaries is used when it shouldn't be used.
Yes.
Sometimes. I'm sure he'll talk about it, but let's get into it.
Yes.
And if you want me to pause, tell me, and I can pause whenever.
Okay.
I think the world's in a weird place right now where there's this battle between boundaries and control. Is it controlling or is it boundaries? And I think both are right depending on the person. It really is subjective. What I will say is that I don't think you should give up your boundaries or let someone convince you that your boundaries are controlling. If they think your boundaries are controlling, then maybe you just don't match up. Maybe you don't align. You don't feel comfortable with them going out and clubbing with all of their single friends and acting or dressing promiscuous, and they couldn't consider that controlling. You consider it a boundary that doesn't make you feel safe. Maybe you're both right, but if you are both right and you're going to accept each other in that sense and not deny yourself the red flags or the reality of the situation, you need to separate. You need to leave. Because if you continue to accept their behavior despite establishing it as a boundary, then yes, eventually you will begin to control them. It'll either be a form of control or you accept the fact that you're going to deal with this pain. And I don't know about you, but neither one of those seems like the appealing decision. And so as much as it hurts, it's a lot less painful to rip the Band-Aid off and find someone that does align with your boundaries than to try to force someone who is unwilling to make the change.
Okay.
Your face.
Yes.
It's like a little roller coaster there.
There was a lot going on there.
Yeah, and you started this conversation for people that don't know. Is there was parts of this video that I agreed with and parts that I didn't agree with. So
Now I
let's do
remember.
it. Now you remember.
I think he himself is confusing boundaries and control.
Okay.
It's interesting that he said the very first part of what he said was they get confused.
Yes.
And I think he's confused.
Yes.
Because if he's talking about not wanting his girlfriend or partner or whatever to go out clubbing with their friends, that's not a boundary.
Right.
That's not what he.
So what? Brief pause on that one. What makes that? Why is that not a boundary?
Because boundaries are, this is what I'm comfortable with myself. Like if his partner wanted him to go out clubbing and he said no, that's a boundary. Boundaries are for you. It's not, I can't put a boundary around you.
Right.
That's not what a boundary is.
Right. It's self-governing or something is
right. It's like
term.
I don't like it when you use the word stupid.
Right.
Around me, right? That I'm
or when you call me stupid or whatever.
Yeah, definitely, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
But like even if I said I don't like it, if you're using it in general conversation referring to somebody else, I don't like the word stupid, so please don't use the word stupid around me. Not that you're this is an example.
Yes. I mean, I use the word stupid a lot.
For our audience, right? But I'm talking about myself, right? It's in my behavior and what I'm willing to tolerate. But if I say, I don't want you to do this thing yourself, I don't want you to go and do that thing.
You should stop using the word stupid. I don't want you to use the word stupid, like in general,
right.
For example.
Yes, that's a good example.
I got you.
Like if I say, I'm not comfortable hearing that word, so please don't use it when you're with me. That's different than me saying you can never use that word again, which is what he's saying. This person in the, that he's talking about should say, I'm not comfortable with you going to the club by yourself or with friends. that's not a boundary.
Mm.
That is a controlling behavior.
Right.
I'm not saying necessarily controlling in a bad way.
Right. That's I was gonna say, yeah, go ahead, continue.
You know, you can be uncomfortable with somebody your partner going out clubbing. That's fine that you're uncomfortable with that, but that's not a boundary.
Right. Right. It's not
that's a relationship goal or something like.
Right. Would that be a value or not so much? I don't know. A value of yours? I don't know. Maybe that's too deep, too strong.
A standard.
Yeah.
A standard.
Like
I suppose.
I would call it a non-negotiable. Like.
Like you
Like
don't feel comfortable with your partner
Right.
acting in this way, or
Right.
the type of partner that you want isn't that
Right.
kind of.
Right.
Mm.
But then I would, like, if I was seeing a couple, which I have seen couples where that is something that one of them is saying, I don't feel comfortable you going out with your friends without me there. But I have them talk about why. Like what is it that's
Right.
making you say that you're not comfortable with that?
Yes.
And I'm assuming it's going to come down to they either don't trust their partner or they don't trust the other people that are going
Right.
to be there, or both.
Right.
Right. They're afraid that they're going to lose their partner through infidelity or whatever. Right. And so I'm like,
or
well,
they can be insecure when they're not around, like their own insecurities when they don't see their partner can come out or whatever.
and maybe that's what you would call it, because you said, what would you call that? I would probably an insecurity.
Right.
Like I feel insecure when you go out with your friends
Right.
without me. But it's not
Yes.
a boundary. The boundary is internal.
Yes.
I mean, it's an internal thing that I'm sharing with you and want you to respect that, but it's not, I'm not putting that around you and your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing that I don't like about this video is that he went from, here's a standard that I want you to respect, and if you don't, I'm going to leave
I'm
you.
out. Yeah, that's true.
Like, what?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
went
yeah.
from 0 to 100.
Rip the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there should be communication
Right.
in there. There should be like negotiation. There should be, you know, like this is why I don't feel comfortable with that. Are you willing to respect that? There should be some kind of conversation, but he went right to, so to me, that's very blackmailish. Like, if you don't obey every single thing that I create out of the fantasy in my mind, then I'm going to leave you. That's not fair. And it's not healthy, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll back up a little bit. I think it's partially how those terms are used, because even the word, like when you say insecurity, like there is, it kind of goes back to another podcast we had about like alpha males and all that kind of stuff. Like I've seen on social media these terms being used, kind of like hot button terms, or like, you know, I've seen it said like, oh, well, if they're insecure, then that's their problem. Like, or like, you shouldn't be insecure if I'm going to go out and have fun with my girls and dress how I want, whatever. But then on the flip side is like, you know, using from the guy's perspective of like, if she's not okay with that, then she's for the streets or whatever. If she's not going to respect your boundary, which is not a boundary, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it, social media, like it's very clickbaity and all that, but these terms being used so extremely, like it's like you said, there could be aspects of it that's controlling. Does that necessarily mean that it's totally bad? And could be aspects of like you're insecure, but is that necessarily bad? Or like something needs to be cut off and, you know, like, oh, he's insecure, see ya. Or nope, she doesn't respect my boundary, see ya. Like it's very like immediate, extreme reaction needs to happen, you know, but it's fine. This is normal human emotions, insecurity, about whatever, you know, like having a conversation about it.
Right. And I think that's where some of this confusion, I mean, because these terms are related and there might be some overlap to it. So that's why we're having this conversation. So a true boundary where I'm talking about myself and what I'm comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with with myself.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose to continue to not respect that, then that could be cause to sever a relationship after communication happens, right? So when he said, if you don't respect my boundary, then, rip the Band-Aid off and leave or whatever, because he said a couple of times, just leave.
Yep.
That can happen with boundaries that are continually disrespected, right? But again, that in the perfect world that lives in my head, you would tell the person, if you continue to violate this boundary, not the one he uses as an example,
yes.
the one I used, if you continue to disrespect this boundary that I have, then I will take that as you choosing to sever this relationship that we have, right? So notice how I said that. It's not, I'm not leaving. You're telling me to leave.
That I should leave.
Yeah.
Basically.
And then I'm going to respect that choice that you're making. Right? Because I can't control you. I'm asking you to do this, to respect this. And if you don't, then you are choosing to leave.
Right.
That's what you're telling me by your disrespect of that. Right. That, I don't, you could come up with some example, right? But anyway, so I'm just trying to say that boundaries, continued violation of boundaries can result in the termination of a relationship.
Right. And again, it seems like the theme when we define boundaries, control, I guess the boundaries is yourself, control is others.
Yes.
For lack of a better way.
Yes.
Like you yourself, you've put this boundary. You can't control what someone does with this boundary. You put a boundary up. You can't control whether they respect it or not. But then you can accordingly act how you would want to act if someone defies that boundary. You okay, I'm going to have a conversation about it, or I'm going to escalate to be like, hey, if this continues to happen, then I'll have no other choice but to end this relationship or whatever. It's all about what you're going to do. Like, sure, it's somebody is like pressing the boundary or somebody's doing something to affect that, but it's all you're reacting to it, as opposed to control is, oh, you have to do this in order to make me happy, or you have to do this in order to ease my whatever. It's more outwardly focused of like trying to get people to do what you want them to do kind of deal. Like the focus of it is different. It seems.
Yeah, to me, control is I'm trying to put my standards on you for your behavior when you're not with me, right? That's not a boundary, that's control. And like I said, not all control is bad. Like we've pejoratized that term. We've made it bad, like so that all controlling behavior is bad. No, like hopefully we're controlling our kids, right? Well, I'm not because they're adults,
right?
Yours aren't.
I'm trying to control my kids now.
And not all control is bad, right? It's, but there needs to be a conversation on whether the person that you're trying to control feels bad about that.
So in adults, is there what form of control, what types of control are not bad? I get with the kids of like, hey, you're not going to run out into the street. Like I have to control you because otherwise you're going to hurt yourself. What about in adults? What kind of control, if we're using that word, is not unacceptable? Well, that's a weird way. Is acceptable or whatever.
What kind is unacceptable? Or
No,
kind is not. It's what type is okay?
What type is okay?
Yes.
Sound like a double negative. Not unacceptable. What a weird way to say it. Like
I think if you both agree, right?
Sure.
Like for example, both my wife and I are trying to lose weight. And so she has said to me, like, help me not to eat these things. Right.
Yes.
Or help me not to eat too much of these things.
Right.
So now we're looking at like serving sizes.
Yes. Yes.
In one of our snacks, the serving size is 1/4 of a cup.
What's the point?
And I'm like, like, did you realize that?
Yeah.
And so I brought a quarter of a cup, and I'm like,
here you go. You told me to control your portion.
well, I didn't hand her I just showed her the cup, right? And I'm like, this is a serving size.
That's so small.
Yeah, it is very small. I'm like, I eat that much just thinking about whether I should eat it or not.
Right. You're like, should I continue eating this? You know? Yeah, that's true. The pre-eating.
Right. Well, I'm trying to decide if that's what I want.
Yeah.
And so me, like, theoretically, then later I would say to her, okay, you told me to tell you not to do that.
Yes.
So this is me telling you not to do that. That is a controlling behavior because I'm telling her not to do it, but I'm doing it because she asked me to tell her not to do it.
Right.
Because theoretically, then she doesn't have the willpower to do that herself. Right.
It's consensual control.
Yes. There you go. I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Consensual control. That's the kind that's not bad.
Yes.
Because the example in the video, that was non-consensual, apparently, because he said, tell her she can't go clubbing by herself or with friends. And if she does do it, then leave her. That's non-consent, that by the very definition of what he was saying there, he doesn't have permission from her to impose that on her.
Right. The other example that comes to mind is like, if they go out, if you as a couple or a friend go out drinking or something, it's like, and like, okay, it's not great for this person to have more than 2 drinks, and you've talked about it before of like, yeah, I don't really want to drink that much tonight. Like, can you help me? And you go like, all right, we're done, man. Let's like stop drinking. Here's some water. Like that's another similar thing of like, you've agreed like, okay, let's stop that at a certain time. The one person is maybe intoxicated and can't really make that decision, and they've said beforehand like, yo, help me out. Boom, then that's like a controlling. That's another example.
Right.
You've agreed to it.
Yes. The good kind of control.
Right.
The bad kind of control would be if we're going out and then I'm telling everybody no one will be drinking tonight. Right.
Yeah. And then everyone leaves because that was the point.
And then I'm not invited to the next one.
Yeah. Right.
But I think that's kind of what he's doing.
Right. But it's similar to, like what people get fights when they go out of like, no, stop drinking or whatever. Like when there wasn't a consensual thing before, where either partner, they will be like, no, you can't do this. And like that where it gets into conflict of like, even if it is potentially good for them of like, okay, maybe they shouldn't be drinking that much. You didn't agree on you being the controlling person in that scenario. And then it causes a whole blow up. You know what I mean? Like that's part of it as well. And the communication of that too, that causes issues,
Right. What I would recommend, again, like if a couple was coming to see me with this issue that he talked about in the video, I would encourage the male to say why he doesn't want his partner to go out clubbing. Maybe he's afraid somebody's going to slip something in her drink, and maybe this woman that appeared in the video, maybe she's super social and she's not going to pay attention as much to what's going on around her, and maybe he's concerned about that. And so then she can say, well, I'm going to ask my friend to help watch my drink or whatever, to help reassure him, because he's putting a control on that relationship of no clubbing without really addressing the underlying fear behind that.
Right. The actual thing. Yeah. What about, this is a thing that comes to my mind. Someone says like, well, I don't want, or the that scenario happens as the partner said, the guy says like, oh, I just don't want people seeing your body like exposed or whatever. I don't, that's for my eyes only or whatever. What are your thoughts about that one?
I've had clients say that exact thing.
Okay, good. I figured, because I have my eyes only or whatever,
But again, we explore why. Like what are you afraid of, or what are you thinking will happen if somebody sees? Because that is a legitimate concern, because when people go out clubbing, they tend to show skin, guys and girls. Right.
And part of the purpose, it seems a lot of times, for clubbing is to check people out. I mean, that's kind of what it is.
Well, and then in that like the statement that you just said, which I think is true, I would ask the
Right.
the person who is trying.
Going clubbing.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I got you.
That's the short way.
Yeah.
My mind was going much longer. So yes, the person, I would ask the person going clubbing, is that your purpose?
Right.
Is to get attention from other people because you have a partner? Why are you trying to get the attention of other people?
Yes.
And then the person that's going clubbing is going to be like, no, that's not
of
my
course
purpose.
not.
Well, then can you not wear a winter coat,
Right.
but can you have some clothes on, right? When you go clubbing, because your partner is concerned. See, it's a concern, not a boundary.
Yes.
Your partner is concerned.
Yes.
Maybe that's the word, about this behavior, and I would call that a bid. That's a marriage and family therapy term, is like, if I make a bid as to, I don't want people seeing skin on you because I don't trust that they're going to respect that, then can you make a commitment to your partner that you're going to cover your pieces parts up?
So to kind of play devil's advocate there, what about if it's like, I don't want to change my clothing because then now he's controlling of what I wear or not. Like, does he not trust me to put that boundary on other people if they come over to me?
And the answer to, so I'm going to answer your question and back up what I said, and then anyway.
Right.
So like asking the partner, can you wear more clothes when you go clubbing? She has the right to say no to that, because that we're in the good realm of controlling, not the bad realm of controlling.
Yes.
So she has a right to say, no, I'm going to wear what I wear, right? It's my body, my clothes, right? And then we're going to continue to negotiate that, right? Then how can we get your partner, the one who is asking you not to go clubbing, how can we make him feel more comfortable with you?
Yes.
So another example of what that might look like is, can you, person who wants to go clubbing, ask your friends to be more aware of your surroundings and let you know if somebody's eyeing you, because for some people, being viewed even in a sexual way is a turn on for them, right? And so, and that's fine. That's not cheating.
Yeah.
That's not it. They just like it when people look at them.
Sure.
I mean, that's why guys wear tight shirts, so you can see their pecs and their biceps, and and you're wearing that to work. I've seen people wear it to church, and I'm like, like, you're wanting people to eye you in a sexual way, right? And that's fine as long as you can admit that that's what you're doing. Right. When you deny that that's what you're doing, then
there's a different conversation.
It's going to make me ask more questions. But anyway, so to answer your question, like the person can say no to that, but then you need to continue negotiating. And I always tell my couples, you need to understand the definition of negotiating, which means at the end of the day, both of you are not going to be happy.
Right. You're not, either of you are not getting exactly what you want.
Correct. Yep. So the art of negotiation is you have to be not happy enough so that your partner agrees to it, but you're still not completely unhappy. Right.
Yes.
You have to live with the amount of unhappiness that you're going to have as a result of this negotiation.
Right.
So it might involve, having your friends cut you off with your drinking because you've agreed to it ahead of time. So it's a good kind of controlling, right? So that you don't get too sloppy drunk. Because there's a song, I think it's a country song, Tequila Makes Her Clothes Fall Off.
It's always tequila.
Because she loses an earring in the bathroom sink, and she, takes her shoes off so she can dance. And so anyway, the more she drinks, the more her clothes come off.
That's funny.
So asking your friends to just like keep an eye on you and keep you accountable and all that kind of stuff. And then can your person who doesn't want you to go clubbing, can he live with that?
Right. Yeah, and I think again, and ultimately in that scenario, it could theoretically go to a point where it's like you've come to the conclusion like this doesn't work for us in the sense of the relationship, like where you're like, I just can't the guy is saying, I just can't get over this. This is too much. And she's saying, well, I want to be who I am without being judged, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately you're like, well, I guess we're not in this relationship anymore, but it looks different. That looks totally different than you can't do this. Nah, yeah, I can. What are you trying to bring me down? Like, no, don't go out clubbing being a hoe or whatever. Like, and then it ends that way. Or like, if she doesn't do it, I'm out. You know what I mean? If she doesn't do where then you should just rip the Band-Aid and peace out. Like, that's not real.
Right.
It's like not an actual conversation, not an actual negotiation, discussion as a couple to be like, okay, this is where your boundary, this is my boundary. Can we find a middle ground to it? If not, okay, cool. But most likely, more often than not, you can find a middle ground, especially if you're dealing with the actual issue of it, of like, why is he insecure? Has he had experiences in the past where people have cheated on him, so then that's made him more insecure? Okay, why is she going out and wants to have that experience? Maybe it's not attention, but it's to be close with the girls. And then how can you make that where it works for both of you? Can you go to a gay men's club and still have a similar experience without guys hitting, whatever? Like,
yes,
you're finding this middle ground, and you're actually dealing with why those feelings are there, why the behavior is there, why the need for control is there, because that's ultimately what you want at the end of the day. You don't want to, I know some people want to control other people, but ultimately I think most people that have good intentions don't necessarily want to control another person. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Because if you control another person, then you're also responsible
for
that person.
That's too much work, man.
Right.
Too much work.
You're responsible for their choices that they make. So that, like, go to a gay club is another example of a landing spot between don't go clubbing, and if you do, I'm ending this relationship. That's another great discussion point of where we can land. Another one would be, can the person who doesn't want you to go clubbing with you? Right. Can your partner come along? And another one would be like, is there another viable alternative other than going clubbing? Right. Is there another, like, could you go out to a fancy restaurant and then you dress up for that too? Right.
Or like an open mic or like a
karaoke
bar or something.
Right.
Like, cool. Like there's,
can you do
club.
Yes.
Right.
Where whatever your partner has a problem with is at this club. Right.
For sure.
And maybe they have been, I thought of that earlier, like maybe the person that doesn't want you to go clubbing has been cheated on by somebody who went clubbing.
Right. That's probably, I feel like that's a likely scenario for sure.
Or plot twist, that's where you met the current partner. Right. You met him at a club because you know how people think that go to clubs.
Right. And you're like, ooh, no. Yeah, right. Exactly. So where the other term that comes to my mind, and it's like values. Where does value, we're talking about, boundaries, control, what was the other term we used? Consent. I don't know, like, where does a person's values come into play in this conversation of boundaries and control, do you think? Like, how would you define, what if it's like, my value is that I want to live not a pure life. I don't know, whatever, like you know what I'm saying? Like, so then this is my partner's going against my value if they're trying to be out here and about, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
Do. And I
people
think
use that term, I guess what I'm saying, like, this is my value.
And I think that's an important discussion point as well, right? I think that, and I think that happens all the time, is that somebody's values are being violated, I guess. And then that's when I try to control you, right? Like, an example of that, I guess, is like, I don't drink alcohol. And that's a choice that I've made. I don't care if other people drink alcohol around me. I'm not trying to control other people, right? It literally does not bother me when other people drink alcohol around me. But it is a value of mine that I don't drink alcohol. And I guess in that example, it would be if people know that I have that value and they keep offering me alcohol, then that would be a violation of my values.
Yeah, and a boundary.
Yeah, and a violation of my boundary, correct.
Yeah.
But it would be they're actively trying, oh, there's nothing wrong with it or whatever.
Right, for sure.
One of the reasons is I just despise the taste of it. Like all alcohol that I've tasted, I don't like the taste of it.
Right.
I also don't drink coffee, so
right.
I'm weird.
Unbelievable.
And I also don't like the taste of coffee. So,
right.
I don't understand why I would force myself to drink something I don't like the taste of. True. Do you want to drink toilet water?
There you go.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
But that would be a value and a boundary.
Right.
Right. This is something, but I think that's when people tend to be controlled.
Yes.
Is I'm trying to transfer that value to other people.
Yes.
And they don't have that, it's because they're not you. And so you don't have the same values. Even if you were raised in the same home, like you could be twins and not have the same values, right?
Yes.
And that is uncovered often in couples therapy where people do have different values, right? It's, for example, like if you take clubbing out and I've had couples where when one person raises their voice in an argument, the other person feels controlled in that argument, right? They feel like they're trying to be controlled. And so I explore that. Well, where did that come from? Well, my dad used to yell. And then my mom would give in because he was yelling. Oh, okay. So are you, person who's yelling, trying to control your partner? Well, no, it's just, I'm trying to make a point and she's not getting it, right? Well, you need to understand that that's what she's receiving when you raise your voice, right? So that can be a value of don't raise your voice when we're arguing.
Right. For sure. And again, the negotiation piece too is like the one partner also doing the work individually to try to regulate when that happens. Obviously, again, it's both. Like the one partner that tends to get spirited is like recognizing that when you get spirited, this is the message. And then the other person that gets affected by that, doing their own internal work to be like, okay, they're just, if they do raise their voice, that's not yelling. That's like, it's not the same as my parents or whatever, there's that negotiation thing. But I think again, the big, like your to your point, the big theme is like, how much are you, again, it's individual versus others, like boundary, control, some of these things. When it's healthy, it's individually. When it's unhealthy, it's like you're putting it on to people. And that's so often people will do like, well, everyone should be this way, or like, because I hold this value, then they should do it. And then that's automatically seen as a boundary crossing or lack of respect of like, they're not doing it the way I'm doing it. So they're stepping on my values, but no, why are we putting our values on other people? Everyone's different, Right. I think that's like the big distinct, like you putting it on others. For sure.
Yes. Then that becomes control. And this is probably a topic for another day.
Yep.
But
well, that'll be perfect.
When people raise their voices in an argument, they're not feeling heard. That's why they raise their voice.
Yes. Yep.
It's not because it could be because they're trying to control you.
Yes.
But it also could be because they're not feeling heard. And so if you tell them what you're hearing them say, theoretically, they should lower their voice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a little spoiler alert for you.
yeah, that'll be another podcast episode. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of touched on all of those things. Is there any other takeaways that you want to give to our listeners that may be thinking about this topic or whatever?
I think communicate about your boundaries. Communicate about the control you're trying to exert on somebody else. Communicate both with yourself and with your partner or with whoever you're trying to communicate with. I think that more can be solved through communication than ultimatums.
Yes. And I think the big one too is like, for me, it's the negotiation part. Like, it's like, I feel like we need less black or white thinking in relationships of like, okay, this is maybe a boundary of mine, and how do we get to a place where we both can be in the middle of like, I'm sure your boundary is valid. Like, you're uncomfortable with this thing, or they're uncomfortable with this thing. Like, sure, that's not taking away anything from what you believe, but more than likely you can find a middle ground that works for the both of you. More often than not, of like, slow down and try to find the middle ground, because there's middle ground. That's just life. Like, you don't have to be so stuck on this is my box. Anytime anyone comes close to my boundary, like, F them.
Yeah.
Like, come on, it's not real life.
Correct. Yeah.
For sure. Sweet. Well, thanks for listening to our podcast today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'd love to hear from you about your experiences with boundary and control. So feel free to hit us up on any of our socials, Wet Dreams with a Z podcast, and look out for our next episode. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
The Wet Dreams podcast and any content posted is intended for general information, educational, and entertainment purposes only. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional, diagnosis, or treatment. Listeners should not disregard or delay in obtaining a medical advice for any medical or mental health condition they may have, and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.